Trade recap April the 7th. Today I'm up $165, which is approximately 2 hours. What was the expectancy for me today? Basically, like the VIX was rising because some news came in and we had like a pretty crazy sell-off happening. Then, what was the next thing? I'm not trading the first hour. That's why before I was like checking out the market, we were currently holding this low here once, or we were, I think, somewhere around here in this low of this cumulative volume profile area up here, in this low from the last week's volume profile. And the expectancy was for them holding it once more and getting like higher, all the way back to the high volume nodes, where you first can see some resistance. Apart from that, if they would have lost it and there would have been like a meaningful expansion lower, you could have expected it and you could have tried to short the extremes here. That was the expectancy today. Here you can see like the 5-minute footprint, 5-minute volume profile. You saw we had like a crazy good sell-off here, held it once, had like a good rebid from this low here, and they failed but held down here. And yeah, now let's go into the structure chart, my main one. So yeah, the first trade I've taken, as you guys can see, they were held in this area once, made like a lower high compared to this one, weren't able to make like a new higher high, and I was still thinking about, okay, they held it perfectly at this area, had like a 32-point expansion from there, and I thought, okay, I want to go long here. Why? What did I get stopped out here? Yeah, basically I was waiting for the footprint here, as you guys can see. Where is the footprint one? That's the first, second, that's the third one. As you guys can see, that was my entry. Why did I was looking for this entry? Because crazy selling, big sellers, selling balances, another big seller. First initial buying, but just getting reoffered again. Sellers came in, held it once, and there was like a quite of a good structural change. They came back into this previously big sellers up here, and I thought, yeah, maybe they want to hold it. Why? Because there was some big seller up here, and the next candle closed quite higher, but it was a little bit stupid for me to immediately go long down there, because there wasn't like, this candle wasn't showing some real strength, because volume wasn't built up there anyway, so there was still expectancy there for them getting lower. Yeah, that then definitely happened. They got lower into this area here, and as you can see, big selling balances, big seller, and finally buying was shaping up here. You could have definitely traded this area here, somewhere like here. Why? Because you can see this crazy shift of point of control immediately higher. And yeah, from there on they have just risen all the way back into some prices which have been accepted, and then they were coming back into this area here on the structural chart that's over here. And I like this area. Why did I like it? Because they were like slowly but steady making higher highs, and there was just the expectancy there for them to finally expanding, getting outside of accepted prices and finding new agreed prices. Yeah, they were coming back into this lows once more. I saw oversold signals, big sellers once more, but I also knew that they held these lows here, and some good negative delta has been in this area. Plus, with the footprint where it is, this one here, I was wanting to go long. Why did I want to go long? Basically, you saw big sellers shaping up here, huge sellers. Point of control, this left one is volume. Point of control was also giving them strength and accepting lower prices. So lower were accepting lower prices. It was a little bit of a shift, a rebid, but just too few for me to go long up here. They came back once more, higher, and then I said, you know what, sell imbalances into this area here. And before there was like more negative delta down there, in combination with me seeing some positive buyers, I wanted to go long based on this prior volume which has been built here. So yeah, it wasn't like a picture perfect order flow based trade in combination with like the context as well, but ultimately sellers just got absorbed. You can see that here, big negative selling in the lows on the delta, but point of control was migrating higher and higher, ultimately leading to a total failure of sellers, and buyers got rewarded as well as me. I had like a crazy good 17.5 point move. Problem was I just had only one contract on. That was the reason. But still, at then I was at break even. Then the third move was a crazy one. I was looking for a possible long into this area here, into this one here, heavily oversold. Some things I want to see in combination with some order flow, and the context coming from the volume profile and the structure often leads to great trades. So keep that in mind. I was seeing that, but it was just too few because I wanted to see some good rebid above all those crazy sellers, but it didn't came in. It happened that the complete opposite was true, which was just reoffering. There was like some buying, which was too weak because I said, okay, I want to see them getting higher and rebid those sellers here, rebid those big sellers here all the way, which then came in, which only came in lower. Why did I enter here? You guys can see long, low volume tail down here, which meant that prices weren't accepted. We were coming into a meaningful area based on the volume profile as well. As you guys can see, last week's volume profile was, that's this one. Last week's volume profile was beginning to get like crazily low volume here. And I said, okay, based on the volume profile, it also makes sense on the daily one as well. And I said, yeah, okay, I want to look for a possible long. And after we had like this change of structure here, big volume all the way down there, but they just got absorbed. You saw it on the CVD. CVD was making a lower low, but price wasn't, which was indicating me that passive buying is at least pretty strong. That isn't the entry criteria by itself, but it can give you another context layer for your confirmation and for your entry. Because if CVD, if there's like an absorption happening, and also like aggressive market participants, in this kind of example, aggressive buying starts to shape up, it's often a good indication for you to take a long from down there. And that exactly happened. What has happened? They were trying to get higher. More sellers came in. Point of control was here. Prices weren't accepted higher. Then the next candle had like a lot of point of control here, a lot of volume, a lot of positive delta, not like really high. And then the third one was having like crazy positive delta up there, which was looking very bad at a certain point of time. Why? Because it looked like they were just getting absorbed up there from passive sellers and aggressive buyers punching against the wall. But still, I was thinking, okay, it's worth the risk because we were like so heavily oversold that I thought, damn, if they really want to go lower, it's okay. Then I'm down 1 hour on the day, and if not, then I'm up great, right? That was what exactly happened. Ultimately, sellers got even weaker. They made like a new higher high. They were coming down once more, and sellers failed once more. I had like my first long here and then the second one up here because I wanted to scale in to get like a good entry. Big negative seller got rebid, and then I knew it was over. Took my first take profit up here because it was based on, as you guys can see on this one, there was like a big limit order in the order book, and I said, okay, before that I want to be filled to front run it and get some profits. From there on, I had like my stop at break even. Then I just had like the last trade after there was like this crazy algo-driven this crazy algo-driven movement from the last hour happening, and yeah, took my last profit up there. That was my trading day today. Let's see you tomorrow.